Hey, I need an ambulance to 2430 Piedmont Road. You have a Longhorn? Stay still, bro. Stay right here, yeah.
Dispatch audio, 2:14 a.m. He's just lying there. There's a red dot on the wall. I don't know what that is, but it's blinking. I think it's a camera. The caller, a neighbor, had heard a single pop through the thin apartment walls.
Exactly what happened. I just saw him push him and shoot him, and he fell to the floor and the guy pulled off.
By the time the caller finished,
But inside that apartment, a small, unblinking eye captured everything. Picture a snow globe, perfectly still on a shelf, filled not with fake snow, but with the reflection of a man raising a gun. That globe didn't shake. It just watched.
You were breaking into the truck, and they shot me.
well,
Before we go deeper into what the documents actually show, make sure you're subscribed to Police Bodycam Legal Analysis. Because we don't just cover the story, we follow the evidence. Just after 2 in the morning on a Tuesday in November, a 911 operator in Maricopa County receives a call from a woman who can barely form the address. She keeps repeating the same thing. There's a body in the hallway. The victim is identified as 31-year-old Tanya Greer, a phlebotomist who worked the late shift. She'd been home less than an hour. By the time officers breach the door, they find her purse still on her shoulder, keys clutched between her fingers. Her front door shows no sign of forced entry, but the bedroom window is cracked open. A single muddy shoe print on the sill. The first responding officer's body cam catches his voice dropping to a whisper. "Where's the fire?" There's no fire. The alarm company called in a panic signal, but look at this. He tilts his chest, mounted camera up at a smoke detector. Its tiny green light is solid, but it isn't a smoke detector. It's a concealment shell for a pinhole lens, hardwired into a DVR system in the back of a closet. The killer had disabled the doorbell camera outside, cut the phone line, even smashed a tablet left on the kitchen counter. He'd done everything right. The lens remembers.
just after 1 a.m. on September 3, 2023, a frantic 911 call reaches dispatchers from outside a parking garage in Atlanta, Georgia.
Exhibit 1 is that hard drive.
Exactly what happened. I just saw him push him and shoot him, and he fell to the floor and the guy pulled off.
By the time the caller finished,
Detectives pull the video and freeze it on a single frame, a man in a dark hoodie, face turned directly toward the shelf where a pet camera disguised as a snow globe sat. He's no more than 3 feet from it. The timestamp shows he stared at that shelf for 11 seconds, readjusting his gloves before turning back to the victim. What he didn't know is that the camera had been a birthday gift from Tanya's sister, who wanted to check on her cat during long shifts. It recorded in 12-hour loops, overwriting itself, but not before copying every pixel to a cloud server. So while the killer was still inside the apartment, the footage of him raising a Glock and firing a single shot was already locked in a data center 3 states away. The lens remembers.
Well, they weren't smart enough to get this, were they?
an ambulance finally reaches the scene and rushes Harrison to a local hospital.
The video
where
itself
CPR
is 7 minutes long. It opens with Tanya walking in, tossing her keys into a ceramic bowl, and saying to the cat, "I know, I'm late." Then, a rustle from the bedroom. She freezes. The audio picks up her voice, calm but loud. "I don't have anything worth your life. Take what you want and go." The man steps out, hood shadowing all but the lower half of his face. He says nothing. He just shoots. The sound of the gunshot is flat and quick, like a book slamming shut. Then he walks to the shelf, pauses in front of the snow globe, and mutters, cheap junk before unplugging the television and the gaming console. He leaves through the window, taking a backpack that wasn't his. The whole sequence is so methodical that if not for the one camera he missed, this would be a stranger-on-stranger cold case that gathers dust in a property room. Parallel narrative. That backpack belonged to Tanya's boyfriend, a man named Devin Marsh, who was out of town for a union training. Devin becomes an early person of interest. Standard procedure. But his alibi is ironclad. He's on a security feed 200 miles away, buying coffee at a gas station at the exact minute the trigger is pulled. So detectives pivot. They flood the still image from the snow globe camera into a national database. Within 6 hours, a probation officer in Tucson calls back. He says, "I've got a guy who just cut off his ankle monitor 3 days ago." The nose, the posture, it's him. The man is a 26-year-old named Kyle Rittner, last known address a halfway house. Prior convictions for aggravated burglary and unlawful possession of a firearm. He'd been released on community supervision just 8 weeks earlier. And now, here's the ticking clock moment that reframes this entire story. If Rittner hadn't cut that monitor, if he'd simply waited 3 more weeks until his supervision expired, would anyone have ever connected him to the apartment? Or would the image in the snow globe have remained just another nameless face in a system overloaded with them? That's not a political question. That's the plot of a thriller we were all living inside and didn't know it. On the 5th day, the U.S. Marshals Task Force locates Rittner at a motel off the I-10, registered under a stolen identity.
Yeah. Yours? Yeah, and I have a dash cam, so I might have recorded it. Wow, they really did ransack it.
The arrest warrant contains a line that reads like an epitaph. Suspect was found in possession of a mobile device containing screenshots of the victim's social media posts, saved 3 days prior to the homicide.
When you walk in, there's a picture of him with the strap.
Is it holding the picture of him holding the actual murder weapon? Really? There, yeah.
Well, that's good evidence.
He'd studied her. He'd known her schedule. But the document also lists the search history on that phone. And tucked into the logs is a single query from the night of the murder. How to tell if a camera is recording even if no light. The irony explosion is here. He stood inches from the one device that could hang him, dismissed it as cheap junk, and then, hours later, tried to Google whether he'd made a mistake. The hard drive had no light at all, just a hollow plastic globe. The lens remembers, and now, so does the jury.
You can only run for so long. 9.
At trial, the state's forensic video analyst walks the jury through the footage frame by frame. The defense argues the hood obscures facial features too much for a positive identification. The prosecutor then plays the moment Rittner's own voice mutters, "Cheap junk." A voice exemplar. Taken from a recorded jail phone call, where he brags about evading cops, matches 17 phonetic markers. The jury hears him convict himself with his own breath. The documents from the medical examiner show Tanya sustained a single gunshot wound to the left ventricle. Death within 90 seconds.
Come on, stay with me. Give me a sign, give me a sign.
The snow globe camera captures her final sound. Not a scream, but a slow exhale, the keys still clutched in her
Exit wound
hand.
on the left side of his chest.
I can't breathe, I can't breathe.
Can't breathe.
Hey.
Hard evidence, the cloud backup metadata, the voice match, the search query, and the ankle monitor cutoff alert all form a chain. But there's one piece that never made it to the closing argument. The snow globe sat on a shelf directly above a framed certificate. Tanya's degree in nursing, which she was 2 semesters away from completing. The camera's angle was just wide enough to include its reflection in the glass of the globe. So for the entire 7 minutes of footage, the killer's silhouette moves against a backdrop of her name, her dream, preserved forever in low, light pixels. That's the image detectives say stays with them. Not the blood, the degree. Rittner was convicted on all counts: first-degree murder, burglary while armed, and tampering with a monitoring device. He was sentenced to life without parole, plus 30 years. The judge, before handing down the sentence, read aloud the timestamp of the video when the shot was fired, 2:03:47 a.m., and noted that the camera had been recording for 1 hour and 14 minutes before that moment, capturing only an empty room and the sound of a cat purring. That detail wasn't necessary for the verdict. It was necessary for the record. Now, you've heard the case. But the most important piece of it is sitting in a public court repository right now. I want you to pull case number CR 24-03-192 from the Maricopa County Superior Court docket. Download the search warrant inventory return. Look at item number 4 tween Samsung micro SD card 64 GB silver, recovered from novelty snow globe. Then ask yourself one question in the comments. If that globe had been facing just 2 degrees to the left, would there even be a case number? This is police Bodycam legal analysis. If you want to follow the evidence where it actually leads, like this video, share it, subscribe, and turn on notifications. We'll see you at the next docket.